Hi, Chris Stanton. I'm with McCownGordon Construction. I'm Vice President of Estimating here at McCownGordon. Been here since 2000 and had a number of different roles from starting here from a project engineer to up through my current role. And we work on a number of different projects throughout the city, from small projects with our Velocity group that we have dedicated estimators in, through healthcare, science and technology, commercial, you name it, a variety of different types of projects around town and around the Midwest region for that matter. Been involved with ASPE in past capacity, from teaching classes, a number of associates that have been involved from the board level down through going through different education classes, learning the ethics, just really being involved and helping out. I think there's great value there in what it provides for the industry.
What do you think we could do program-wise to attract more people, not only to the meetings, but to ASP as a member? You know, we get a lot of people come to our meetings, up to 75, but we have, the membership is, grows a little bit. But what do you think we could do to help create more members in ASPE?
We've seen what I've seen in other not-for-profits like ASPE is providing what's the value ASPE is providing. So what you're doing is providing a lot of information, great packages, such as the programs you guys do. ASPE does every they put on, and even the Estimating Academy as well too. So those provide great value. Some of those are, maybe there's a benefit, reduced fee or something for your members. And then it also provides, you have board service as well too. It also provides some other estimators, getting them involved in those board service so they can have experience at that level as well too. Or projects, or delegating to have somebody run a certain project for the ASPE, the local chapter.
Excellent. So I talked to someone this week, and they said that they get a lot of value out of being able to go in and meet with other people that are estimators and talk to them about, like, what are they using the tools wise. So not even a program, but it's like that networking or that visiting around before and after. But they said, so where do you guys go, where do you and your estimators go to learn about new estimating tools, new processes, maybe what's state of the industry out there in the market? I mean, do you go to national shows for estimating? Or we know there's a big change coming up as we get more quantum and more, but what do you think? Do you think it would help if we had programs like around using VR for estimating, virtual reality for estimating, using cloud-based systems like Google's rolling out, do you think it helps if we have like edgy programs?
Those help. What we found is we just had two folks go to San Francisco to a national conference, and it was all about modeling and tying back to the estimate and quick instantaneous updates for the estimate that are accurate. And it was all presented by one company put it on, but the presenters were all actual users. They were estimators from Skanska and other large national contractors across the country that were presenting, and they presented how they did it in real time and what they did and what worked, kind of a best practices type of deal. And some of the sessions, or a number of different sessions, that are out there, and that kind of, and they're out there researching it as well too. So we're paying for this, for the conference, but we're also getting some of the benefit of some of what they've researched as well too.
So you're hearing from other general contractors.
Yeah, almost peer to peer, and then also we're in other peer groups with other GCs across the country that works well too. So
excellent. So what are your biggest challenges you face in estimating today that you think that could be resolved? Like tools, with the biggest problem we're having as subcontractors is incomplete documents. By far. And what we're seeing, Chris, is we're seeing a number of people rolling out plans before they're ready, and they're telling us it's because the owners are driving it, get them out sooner, reduce fees after the recession. The fees never came back for the designers. But what are you doing when you get an incomplete set of documents? Is there anything that you're doing to complete the picture and provide a response even with incomplete documents? Is there anything you?
Yeah, we kind of look at it as there's the hard bid market where you bid exactly what's on the drawings. And then there's also the market where we need to conceptually, which is kind of, sometimes people have a tough time crossing over between the two, between a conceptual estimate and an actual hard bid estimate. You almost have to put two different hats on. So the conceptual, we need to make sure we're completing the documents or what the intent is, whether it's a contingency or calling out items that we need to include to complete the bid, the budget, whatever it may be. So, but it's training and working with estimators and younger associates on how to do that. So it's something that takes time, something you can't just start out and do from day one. It takes time to understand and know what is needed to finish an estimate and a budget, especially when you're in the early schematic or design development stage of a project where that design is still pretty fluid. So it's still a lot of education, even though they've graduated college, but they're still learning.
Yeah, do you have designers in-house?
We do. We have a couple architects on staff, but they're not practicing design. So
Interesting.
and a professional engineer.
So you've heard of the CPE certification for estimators.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Do you guys foster that in-house here? Do you promote that or support that, I should say?
We do promote it and support it. We have, I know at least one estimator has it, earned it. Alan has earned that a while back and has actually, I think, participated on the board in past years with the chapter. So it's a great deal. Learn a lot through the process and through the report they do and the testing, and the continuing ed is a great thing as well too. It just keeps that process not something you just do and you do once, it continues on. So you want to make sure you keep that designation. So
are there any other certifications that your estimators have or get when they're here?
Other ones, the lead BDNC or lead GA. There's a good number of folks that have that, or even myself with the really old designation of lead AP. A few folks have their professional engineer, like say, one on the civil side that we have in-house, which is a big benefit, which we live in large earthwork jobs and tough soil conditions and such. Those are the biggest ones that we know of. If you're in the healthcare field, getting the certification there through ASPE is a big one as well too. So even it's a little tougher on the estimator side because you have to be involved with so many projects in construction, I believe, if I remember correctly. But we have a number of project managers and superintendents that have gone through it as well too, and maybe an estimator that's a little more experienced.
So he's certified through the you say ASHE, which is that the healthcare engineers?
I believe that is, yes. Yeah. Can't quote me on that, but I can find out for you and verify.
Okay.
So, but that's a good one, especially if you're working in a hospital or any sort of healthcare environment. They're looking for those sort of credentials anymore as well too. So.
All right. So maybe one last question. When in terms of transitioning from the estimate to the project management, from your estimating group to project management, what skills do you see your estimators need, like i.e. schedule writing, or but what skills do your estimators need to help to transition jobs from estimating to project management?
The biggest thing is just sitting down and transferring that knowledge. So that estimator's worked with that project for typically a number of months, 5 to 6 months maybe, and they know a lot about the project. The project managers are involved, but not as in-depth as that estimator. So we want to make sure that knowledge isn't lost. It's not just pick it up, throw it over the desk, and say, here you go. So sitting down, walking through the job, walking through the estimate line by line. Here's why we did it. Here's how we did it. And making sure it keeps moving on at a steady pace. If we just, like I say, throw it over the desk and say, here you go, too much is lost. They're trying to recreate, the project manager's trying to recreate what was done. It doesn't work. So we draw the PM earlier, draw them into the process earlier as we're going through it as well too, which is just keeps a continuous seamless flow throughout the process.
Very good.
Which keeps that estimator, also gets him involved a little bit at the front end as well too. So.
Very good.
So if you're been in the industry from as long as I have to just getting into the industry, whatever it may be in the construction and estimating world, encourage you to get involved. Whether it's attending, we've had numbers, like I said earlier, number of associates just taking the education classes, going on the monthly meetings, learn education, continuing ed. Somehow get involved. Volunteering your time to help out with ASPE. We found it beneficial from all different levels at McCownGordon, and hopefully others will too within Kansas City, because it's not only just a local chapter, but it's also a national organization that has great benefit to everyone across the country. We've had associates that have moved here from out of state, and been involved in other chapters, and just recently getting involved in the local chapters and really enjoying it, starting to take off. It helps them get involved with the community another way to get involved. So we encourage anyone and to reach out to the local chapter and get involved.